First off, I just want to share the results. So here you all are. So it looks like the number one challenge is experience or lack of experience when applying for internships. So we'll definitely touch on that. And then where to look for internships. So a big chunk of the presentation will cover different databases and strategies to identify internship opportunities and how to go about searching for internships in your field. And then the third one, transportation and location. And yeah, I agree. I think that can definitely be a challenge, especially if you may not have transportation to go from, from school to the internship site or from home. And a lot of internship sites you might find that are outside of the area, making it very difficult to commute. So we'll definitely talk about that and additional resources to help you find local internships. So I'm just going to write these down just to make sure that I cover them throughout the presentation. First off, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining. So for today's webinar is internship search. So just focusing on how to find and identify internships. Just before we begin, so I want to do a quick introduction. Hilda is on the Zoom webinar today, so I'll let her introduce herself.
Those darn mutes, I tell you. So my name is Hilda Munoz. I'm the Internship Admin Support in the Career Center, and I'm here to help. Thank you for joining us today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hilda. Yeah, and we're here as the internship team. So Hilda is the Internship Admin Support, and here below you can see our wonderful student assistants that also support the team. So just know that we are here dedicated to support you. So after this webinar, after watching this, if you're still kind of like, I don't know where to begin, or you may still have additional questions, definitely reach out to me or to Hilda, and we'll be more than happy to support you. We can schedule one-on-one Zoom session, and I can cover additional information that's more catered to you. So just know that we're here as a resource. For today's presentation, we're going to be covering where to search for an internship and how the Career Center can support your search. So all the different programs and services that we provide that can be beneficial for you. And we also offer internship funding should you have an unpaid internship. Ideally, I want you all to have paid internships, but I recognize that, that may not always be the case. So we definitely will share information about how you can obtain internship funding. All right, so jumping right in. So this is actually data collected from Robert Schindel. He's a professor out in Texas, and he's also with Intern Bridge. So that organization focuses on internship best practices, and they launched a survey to employers, and it was over 100 employers, asking them what was the most relevant and important attribute when evaluating graduates for hire. So when they recently graduated, what are employers looking for? And as you can see, the most important thing here was internships, if they had an internship experience. And kind of, just throw it out there, start thinking about like, why do you think that is? And the second one is employment during college. So did students not only go to class, but they also, were involved in other types of activities. And the last one, kind of second to last, college reputation, college GPA. We're not saying to, neglect your grades or anything, but I just wanted to show you all the importance of internships and having that internship experience. And I think part of the reason is that, an employer can really see what you did in your internship experience and the skills that can be applied to the position that you'll be applying for. So now I would like to ask you all, why do you want to get an internship? So I'm gonna launch a poll real quick. So I'll give you all about like a minute to review it. Some questions or some responses could include to gain hands-on experience, to become better prepared, to learn new skills, to gain a realistic preview of the workplace, to make professional contacts, to explore a new organization, to explore a new industry, to earn money. Awesome. So it looks like we have a couple ties. To gain hands-on experience, to become better prepared for my field, and to make professional contacts. Yeah, so very similar. As you can see the results here from all of you. It was very similar when students were asked the same question from Intern Bridge. So they surveyed students and asked them what their motivation in pursuing an internship. And these were in order. So the number one reason was to gain hands-on experience. So similar to you all, it's a big reason, right? So it's one thing to learn concepts in the classroom and to kind of, to learn concepts in the classroom. And another thing is to apply them to your actual field. And the next thing also, to become better prepared for employment. So I definitely feel that internships are in a confidence booster, because you yourself know that you can do that type of work, and after you graduate you already have and can refer back to experiences that you've done in your internship and how you can apply them to the role that you're going to be applying for. A lot of you mentioned to make professional contacts, definitely. So I strongly encourage you all, when you do get an internship, to connect with the people that you work with and the person you work for. Definitely, reach out to them, ask them questions regarding their experience, reach out to coworkers, and build relationships in your workplace, because I think that's gonna open doors for you and in ways that you may not really have thought of otherwise. Like you can get potential mentors, you can get potential, advocates who would say, like, after you graduate, they would be more than willing to be like, hey, we might not have a position in this organization, but we would be more than happy to refer you elsewhere, So definitely reach out, and building those relationships is really important. Other things to explore a new organization and new industry. It definitely can confirm or disconfirm a like or a dislike within the field. So I'll share a quick story. So when I was an undergrad, I was an HR major. And unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to intern. So when I graduated and I sought employment, right, I went into the HR field, and it was a big difference between reading HR concepts, right, and actually working in that area. So it was interesting, and I'm not saying that to discourage you or anything, but I definitely think that internships can be a way to determine whether you would like a field or not. And then just to give another example, so I recently met with a student who is an English major, and she's interested in either teaching or law. So one internship she'll be doing with a courthouse, and then the other internship she'll be being like a teaching assistant. So she can determine which career path she would like to take. So internship is a really great opportunity for you to explore of what you like and what you might not like, and then also to refine which area within that field you would want to go into. So going back to the HR example, there's so many aspects of HR, right? There's payroll, compensation, training and development, employee benefits. So just because I didn't like one area doesn't mean that I wouldn't like another area. But at that time I had no idea, right? I thought like all of it was the same. So definitely that could also be useful. All right, and then moving to the internship search process. So I really want to emphasize that the internship search is a process. So some students can find an internship right away within like 2 weeks or so. Other students may take like a quarter or longer. It just depends. So definitely keep that in mind and just recognize that it is a process. It's not like a one-time thing. And step number 1 is to have your resume revised. So if you feel pretty confident about your resume, you know, even so, have a second look at it. You can always, we have drop-in hours, and they're listed on our website, and you can drop in anytime and have your resume reviewed. I'd be more than happy to review your resume. We can do electronic edits. And the main thing about your resume, and this touches on some of you who felt that you may not have experience to even apply for an internship, it's not so much about the titles of your previous experiences. It's more so of the skills that you highlight within that experience. So I'll give you an example. So going back as an undergrad, as an example, I worked as a server for a restaurant for about like 2 years or so. And again, I was interested in either HR, going into human resources, or going into education. So I used that same experience, right, as a server to apply for both types of internships. I too was like, okay, what does serving, or like, what does my current position have anything to do with either of these fields? And I had a really good mentor who told me it's not so much about the title, but more so about the skills that you highlight. So for my education resume, I would say that I educated new employees on policies and procedures of the restaurant. And for my HR, since it's more business-like, right, I increased sales by upselling menu items to customers, right? So I did both of those things. It's just a matter of how you frame them. So that same bullet point, when I mentioned I educated new employees, for the HR one, I would say I trained new employees. And it's just a matter of like framing and your word choice, and also thinking about the skills that can be transferred over to the position or the field that you want to go into. So I will work with you in just making sure that your resume aligns with the position. So it doesn't necessarily matter if you have or haven't done much like within your field professionally or work-wise. That's okay. We can also pull from like course projects that you've done and highlighting those. All right, so step number 2 is identifying search strategies. So each student will have a different search than the student next to them. And the reason for that is because depending on a couple things. So one, your field, right? So for example, some search or some databases will post more on, like, let's say computer science, business, accounting internships. So if you're a film major or want to go into the entertainment industry, that database may not necessarily be the one that you would utilize. So every student will have a different search strategy. So it's I'm going to present you with a whole list of them, and definitely identify the ones that would work best for you, and which search engines and which strategies would work best for you. And another thing is taking in consideration your different like challenges and factors that go into play when you're looking for an internship. So for example, if a student is, may or may not have access to transportation, their search is going to be a lot different than somebody who's like, oh yeah, like let me commute anywhere. Like, I'm down for that. So that search will be completely different. So just taking that in consideration and identifying those factors for yourself can be very helpful when you're looking for an internship, and that way you can narrow down your search. All right, so I'm going to launch another poll here. Let's see. And It's kind of a fun one. How many of you binged watched a TV show recently? All right, so sometimes. All right. Here you go. Here are the results here. 76% of you said sometimes. All right, well, I'm at the who doesn't one. All right, so in terms of like binge watching, I call when you apply like on a Saturday night and you apply for like 20 different internships and you're like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm gonna, I already applied, we'll see what happens. To me, that's binge applying. So I'm glad that, only half of you are binge watching. But when it comes to internships, I definitely do not recommend binge applying. And the reason for this is because, again, it's a process. So you may not know whether or not where you are in that process if you throw in like 20 different applications and you're not getting anything back. In that process, you really don't know where it went wrong. And also choosing, pretty cliche, but choosing quality over quantity is like really thinking through which internship and if this is the type of internship that you would like to get, and catering your resume, catering your cover letter to applying to that position that you would really want to get, as opposed to like, I can just apply anywhere and see what happens, because that might end up in, you getting something that you might not like. And then actively searching. So, you might have a part-time job. You're all full-time students as well. So determining on your course load, on your time each week, try to apply to 3 to 7 applications per week. Set yourself a time every day of the week just to kind of look at internships, whether that's a Wednesday, a Saturday, whatever it may be. But stick to 3 to 7 just to kind of keep your progress. And I have a 5-to-1 ratio. So for every 5th application, you should be getting an interview. And if you're not, then it's definitely something to do with your resume. And the same thing with your interviewing. So let's say you're getting a bunch of interviews, but you're not getting any offers. We can definitely sit down and look at interviewing strategies. All right. So kind of to end this portion is, for yourselves, write it down. How many positions per week will you be applying to? And make that your goal. Okay. So now I'm gonna turn over to, let's see, where to find internships. All right, so I'm just gonna stop sharing this screen. And I'm gonna share a new screen to show you all. Okay, so the first one I wanna show you all is, it's called coveintern.com and /jobs here. And here's where you can find an internship. These internships are kind of more catered to engineering, computer science, as you can see kind of here. But essentially, it's a new database that came out of the COVID-19 crisis. So employers are posting on this database if they have a remote internship opportunity. So a lot of startup companies as well have posted on here. So if you're interested for a remote internship opportunity, and again, they're more catered for like computer science. There's some marketing. Here's some categories that you can see: finance, nonprofit, data science. So this would be a really good search engine if that's your major, and you can kind of look through the positions here. Okay, the next one I want to show you all is Handshake. I'm sure all of you have heard of Handshake. Let me check the chat really quick. Yes, so we'll be sharing that presentation, and there will actually be a recording as well. Okay, so for Handshake, we heavily promote Handshake for a couple main reasons, but the main one is that unlike other databases, recruiters who are posting on Handshake specifically select that they want to recruit from CSUSB. So all the other databases, right, they're nationwide. Anybody can really access them, and anybody really can post too. So on Handshake, it's really neat because recruiters and employers are saying, no, we want to recruit from CSUSB. So that's why we heavily promote our Handshake database system. So once you log into Handshake, you can go two ways. So csusb.joinhandshake.com, and you can log in using your Coyote ID. Or much easier, you can go through My Coyote and then type in Handshake, and you should, on the search bar, and you should be able to access Handshake. If you have any questions on accessing Handshake, you can always email us. We'd be more than happy to direct you. But once you're on here, I just want to show you a couple things for those of you who may or may not have navigated Handshake before. Is you can click on jobs here, click on internship. So a couple of neat things that Handshake can filter with is if you're an international student and you are either on CPT or OPT, you can select here, and it'll prompt you the employers and that are accepting OPT and CPT. You can also filter through industry, function, in your major. So let's say I'm a marketing major. And you can also filter through location. So Handshake has two different ways that you can apply. So you can apply directly through Handshake, or if it directs you to apply directly to the employer's website, you'll just do that. It'll also give you the option to upload your resume and any like cover letter, any additional questions that they may have. But if you click on it, it'll give you information about the internship, the deadline, and the employer preferences. So this is my account. Apparently I'm not the right major or year, but that's okay. So if you do see this on yours, if you see employer preferences that you don't meet them, I would still say to apply. So let them say no to you, not, don't say no to yourself. So definitely you can still apply anyways. These are just preferences. They're not requirements. So if you do see one that you like and you're like, oh, but I'm not the right major, that's okay. You still can apply. All right. And they also have like reviews about the internship, and then their website, and the job description. So Handshake's pretty neat for looking for internships. Again, I definitely recommend looking on there to look for internship opportunities. And if you have any questions, you could always email us or contact us. So if you go to the, let's see here. Okay, awesome. And then there's other features that you can explore. The next one that I want to show you is Cal Jobs. So this is for, this is also really neat for internship search as well. If you're looking for remote internships, you can just type in remote. And it'll give you some listings of internship opportunities on here. These are all within the state of California. So these are pretty neat too. And let's see. So that's another one that you could utilize. Chegg.com/internships is another great engine. So they have internship opportunities on here as well. And you can type in remote internships, and there are also some available as well. And then you can filter through paid or unpaid. I mean, ideally paid, right? And then if there's specific location, again, if you type in remote, it doesn't necessarily matter too much. And you could also do a save job alert, so you don't have to go back and keep retyping and researching. You can just have them email you as new internship opportunities arise. Another one is that I want to show you is LinkedIn. So if you don't have a LinkedIn, I definitely recommend you getting a LinkedIn account. We can help you with setting up your profile. But LinkedIn is a really great networking tool, and it also has its own job database system. So you can look for summer internships. And by experience level, you can select internship, and it will show you different internship opportunities. You can also filter it through location as well. But LinkedIn is also a really good search engine as well. All right, the next one I want to show you is USA Jobs. So this is a really good database if you are interested in working for a government agency. So a lot, if not all, government agencies will post on usajobs.gov. And they also hire recent graduates as well. Pretty self-explanatory. So you type internship, and then another one is the haku.net internship program. So HAKU is the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. Since Cal State San Bernardino is considered a Hispanic serving institution, it's part of this association. So students, all students can apply for this position. And here are their current deadlines here. So for right now, they're recruiting for fall. So you can think of HAKU as like a liaison, and they'll place you with either corporate or federal agencies, depending on what your interest is. So if you're interested in interning for the fall, it's currently open and deadline's June 5th. They kind of stick around within the same timeline. So if you are interested in the summer, just remember that the deadline will be next February. February 2021, but it's pretty straightforward. The application is pretty straightforward. They'll ask you a couple of short answer questions, and if you're selected, again, it's kind of like a liaison program where they will place you in a corporate or government agency. The really neat thing, and why I really like HAKU internship program, is that they will offer you a housing stipend, and they'll offer you airfare to go there and from your internship site. A lot of the internship opportunities with HAKU are located in Washington, D.C. But again, it's paid. They offer you a housing stipend, and you don't have to pay for your airfare. So it's a really neat opportunity. I definitely recommend, if that's something that's feasible for you, would definitely apply, and we can help you with your application as well. And the last one I want to show you is Indeed. So I have mixed feelings about Indeed. I'm sure many of you have seen Indeed before. The reason I have mixed feelings is that it's a really large database, and a lot of people, it's really well known. A lot of people know about it. So you'll find a lot of opportunities because employers are aware of this database. So people will post on here, but for that same reason, you have to be very critical on the opportunities that are posted, just because there's so many that a lot of times they might be illegitimate. So just make sure that if you are using Indeed, that it's a legit internship. And if you have any questions about the opportunity, and if you feel like, I don't know about this, definitely reach out to me and I can take a look at it for you as well. All right, so I'm going to go back to the presentation here. Let's see. I forgot to show you all something. Okay, another strategy that you can use is to look into the internship resources that your own department is offering. So let's say I'm a communications major, so I can type in CSUSB, Department of Communication Studies. So definitely, I recommend checking your own department website on additional resources. And there's internship coordinators or faculty members who oversee internship courses within each of your departments, if not all departments, but definitely check out the internship coordinators, contact them, and they can serve as an additional resource to Hilda and I. So let's say I'm a comm major, I can go to, and then they have their own, essentially their own database of internship opportunities. So do you want an internship? And I'll be like, yeah, I do. So I can click on here. And it's an Excel sheet with previous organizations that have either recruited or have hired CSUSB students that are looking for common majors. So this is a really large database system here. It has their supervisor, their contact information, the description. Just off the top of my head, I know that the sociology department has their own listserv. The College of Business has the Jack H. Brown Resource Network. Psychology department also has their own database. So again, just make sure that you are also looking into your department website and looking at what resources they're offering for internships and how they can be an additional support from Hilda and I. And then we also have a list of the internship coordinators. So if you have a question about who that internship coordinator might be within your department, you can reach out to us and then we can give you that information as well. Another thing that I wanted to show you is if you go to our main website, so Career Center CSUSB, something that sometimes is a challenge for students is like thinking about keywords or search terms when you're looking for internships. So if you go to students and alumni, here you'll find, I just want to make sure that you all are seeing what I'm seeing. Okay. So here you'll find a whole list of majors. Let's say I'm a criminal justice major. So I can click on criminal justice and it'll give you the list of functional areas within criminal justice. So it'll say social services. So within criminal justice, you can go into social services, you can go into law, you can go into law enforcement. So let's say I'm interested in law enforcement. So instead of typing in how you saw like criminal justice internship, these are all different keywords that you can use to find internships, because just keep in mind that employers may or may not post their internship posting as the major and then the word internship. So they may say, we're looking for a loss prevention intern. So definitely go to the site if you're having kind of trouble of like the keywords and how to search for an internship. So this can be helpful. And another way to utilize this resource is through the employers here. So it'll list the employers that house this functional area. So you can look at your local police departments. There's state government organizations, federal agencies. So if you're like, oh, you know, as a criminal justice major, I could work for the wildlife, fishery, and parks. So I can go to their website directly and see if they have internship opportunities. So you can also apply for internships using company websites directly. And then it gives you strategies on how to go into this niche area. So think of your major as like a funnel. You start with, you know, whatever major it is, like let's say it's biology, and then within your experiences and your internships, you'll start to like funnel in within the functional areas within that major. All right, and then the other resource that I want to show you is the list of employers in the state of California by major and concentration. So let's say I am a music major, and I want to see all the employers in the state of California that would hire music majors. So here are all the different companies that would essentially look for music majors. And this is also a really neat tool and strategy to think kind of outside the box, right? So it will give you a list of the organizations, and you can filter it through a different state. We just made it defaulted for the state of California. But essentially you can go into their website and look for internship opportunities that they may have. All right. All right, and now I'm going to go back to the presentation. And then again, here are the list of the internship coordinators. I would be more than happy to share this with you if you are having trouble finding the internship instructor or internship coordinator within your department. All right, so I'm going to launch a poll, see how you are doing, of what 2 search engines or strategies will you use to identify an internship. So again, we covered just different ones, right? So here is a whole list. So Handshake, the department internship listing, specific website, the Haku National Internship Program, Cal Jobs, LinkedIn, USA Jobs. And Flex Jobs is another one. It's all remote and virtual internships. It's flexjobs.com. All right, so 79% of you said Handshake, 36 said department internship listing, and then kind of pretty even out on the rest of them. All right. Yeah, and start thinking about, you know, if one search engine doesn't necessarily work for you, or you're not finding too many of internship opportunities, definitely utilize a different one. And if you're still kind of having trouble, I'd be more than happy to help you. All right, so ideally, again, I'd like for all of you to have a paid internship. Kind of note on that is that just being careful with unpaid internships. So an unpaid internship can be with a nonprofit, government, or municipal organization. So if you are working for, let's say, like a clinic or a school, even like the courthouse, those all can be unpaid. But if it's for, like, let's say, like a sports marketing agency and they're getting paid through ads, or if it's like a for-profit company, think of it as like, if the company's making money, you should also be making money. The only way around it is that if you take an internship course. So if you're either receiving pay or you're receiving credit for that internship. But for-profit companies cannot offer unpaid internships unless they're making it mandatory for you to receive internship credit. But let's say you do have an unpaid internship with a nonprofit, government, or municipal organization. The Career Center hosts 2 internship awards. You would first need to apply for the internship award. It's pretty simple. We ask for your internship site information. You need to be enrolled in an internship course. And then if you're selected, I would say about 80% of students who apply, 80 to 90% will receive the award. So it's definitely a really high chance. So I definitely recommend, if you do end up with an unpaid internship, to apply for the awards. So we have the Career Center Internship Award and the Explore Internship Award. The main differences between them is that the Explore Internship Award is location specific, so it has to be located off campus in the city of San Bernardino or Coachella Valley. And for the Career Center Internship Award, it just needs to be off campus, but it can be located anywhere. We also work with the Here to Career grants. We don't necessarily oversee it, but we do have someone in the office that serves as a liaison to that grant. So it's also $1,000 at the completion of your internship should you be selected. And this application is year round, so you can apply anytime. For the other ones, they have like application windows. The application for spring just closed, but we'll reopen it in the fall. And for Here to Career, it's digital media discipline specific. So this can be graphic design, if you're in marketing, computer science. So it's more for specific disciplines. And if you have any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them. All right, so kind of recapping, it's just to make sure that you focus your search, right? So the first image is like you kind of just applying everywhere, anywhere, like it doesn't matter, let me just get an internship. So it's gonna kind of look like that, and you might end up with something that you might not really like or want. But if you really focus and say like, hey, I'm just gonna apply for like 3 to 5 internships a week, and I'm gonna look through thoroughly about which internship opportunities I want. it might look a little bit more like the second picture, right? All right. So just questions to reflect on. We won't really necessarily go into like a pair share, but just think about what quarters you would like to intern at. So if you're wanting to find an internship in the summer or the fall, this is the perfect time to start looking. I definitely, since we're moving to semesters, I definitely recommend looking a semester or two before you ideally want to find an internship. So for example, if you're wanting to intern for the summer of 2021, I would start looking in the fall and then have your process kind of move forward. Ideally, you want to have multiple offers. That way you can have your decision of where you want to intern, what location you ideally want. So for those of you who want a local internship, kind of going back to the Internship Awards. So because we receive a lot of information, a lot of data from the Explore Internship Awards, we get a lot of internship information from local employers that are located in the city of San Bernardino or the Coachella Valley. So I can use that database to identify internship opportunities that might work for you, because a lot of employers may or may not be posting on Handshake. So they may not be on Handshake, but just because they're not on there doesn't mean that there's no internship opportunities in the area. There's a lot. So I will definitely be more than happy to help you identify local internships. And then if you're looking for paid academic or unpaid internships, kind of think through that, like if it's feasible for you to get an unpaid, or if it, if that factor doesn't necessarily matter, and think of what industry you might like. So a neat thing about internships is that you can essentially get an internship that crosses two intersecting interests, right? So let's say I'm in IT, but I love movies, so I can work for Sony Entertainment in their IT department and it within the entertainment industry, but then within my field. So think of like what industry you might want to work in, and then the functional area. So you can really focus your search. Additional ways that the Career Center can support your internship search is through resume review. Again, if we can fine tune your resume, make sure it's aligned to the field that you want to go into. A couple things that I want to touch on is the federal resume versus chronological resume. So if you are interested in applying for government agencies or federal agencies, a federal resume is what's required as opposed to like a chronological resume. If you have any questions about the differences, again, you can reach out to us and be more than happy to answer. And the job internship search, so we can help with that, help with networking, meeting employers, and facilitating mock interviews. Definitely stay connected with us. So we're having Instagram live sessions. You can follow us at CSUSB_CC every Tuesday and Thursday at, you can see it on here. And then, so definitely follow us on Instagram. We are still doing online Zoom appointments. So you can schedule those through Handshake with a career counselor. Again, I'd be more than happy to meet with you all as well. And then we also have virtual drop-ins. All right. Other kind of plug-ins that I want to share is the Career Club. So you can think of this organization, student organization, as an informal career center. So they also have IG Lives Fridays at 5. They have different topics. Definitely connect with these amazing group of students because they're really knowledgeable, and it also creates a sense of community. I know it's kind of tough right now, right? Connecting with each other, with other students right now. For continuing the spring webinars, our next one is May 5th, social media do's and don'ts plus networking. And then we have another session I'll be hosting on May 6th on virtual internships. Pretty similar to what I covered, I just will go more in detail on how to secure a virtual internship. And then the last poll here is kind of determining your next step. So based on the information you received today will be your first next step that you'll take right after ending this session. And some responses are make an appointment via handshake, revise resume, apply for internship, contact my department internship coordinator, and I have no idea. And I'll give you all about 20 more seconds. All right, so 64% of you said you'll get your oh my goodness, your resume revised, and then I'll start applying for internships. Awesome. So yeah, definitely next steps, have your resume reviewed. You can make an appointment, you can, use our virtual drop-in hours, and then identify which internship search databases that work best for you. So I know we gave you a whole list of different databases and strategies, but definitely go through them and seeing which ones you might find most helpful for you, depending on your field, and determine how many positions that you're going to be applying for. So definitely don't binge apply, set yourself a goal and write that down and just stick to it. And again, the 5-to-1 ratio. So if you see yourself applying for more than 5 positions and you're not getting anything back, definitely reach out and we'd be more than happy to support you. Visit the Career Center website. A lot of this information is on our website that you can find on there. And tell people that you're looking for an internship. Tell your friends, tell your instructors, the internship coordinators within your department, professors, staff that you interact with, just because they may or may not know of opportunities right then and there, but they'll definitely keep you in mind. So like, for example, like if I meet with a student and they say, oh, I'm looking for a data analytics internship, but I haven't really found anything. The next employer that comes to me and says like, oh, we're recruiting for data analytics, that name is gonna pop in my mind, right? So the same thing with staff across campus. It's the more people that know that you're looking for an internship, the more people that will be out there looking out for opportunities that may be of interest to you. So definitely tell your friends, and attend virtual career fairs. You can find some events on Handshake as well, and definitely attend those if you're interested. And then kind of lastly, of course, apply through department listings, company websites, internship databases, so you all can find an internship opportunity. You can email me, you can email Hilda as well. Here's my email address, and then you can always schedule an appointment with a career counselor on Handshake, and then you click on Career Center, then scroll down to appointments, click on there, and you can schedule an appointment on there as well. All right, so that's all the information that I have for you today. Here's a quick survey link. It'll be very helpful if you just take a few moments to fill it out. It definitely helps as we transition into online of how effective and how engaging these workshops are. So any feedback would be very helpful as I move forward with the series.